Hi, it's Justin from CanadaWhips.com. Today, we're going to talk about the volley. The volley is a really cool whip cracking trick that consists of multiple cracks happening in a row. It's a staple for a lot of difficult routines, and I remember when I was a beginner, it was the trick that I wanted to learn the most. However, it is fairly difficult. And so for this video, I'm going to try and go as in-depth as possible to help you learn the volley and get through some of the little bumps along the road that you may encounter. We're going to start with a demonstration of the volley, where I'm going to show you what it is and explain it to you. After that, I'm going to talk about some things that you might want to keep in mind when learning the volley, including how different whips act when doing the volley. After that, we'll do a how-to, where I'll actually teach you how to do the move. And finally, we'll enter a troubleshooting section, where I'll cover some common problems and how to fix them. Let's get started. This is what the volley looks like from the front. The volley is a multiple cracking pattern where the whip alternates between cracking in front and cracking behind. As you can see, the whip forms a loop on one side of your body, cracks, and then forms a loop on the other side of your body. Because of the back and forth nature of this move, the volley is typically easier with a whip that has a longer handle and a looser transition. Watch the slow motion footage to see why. These whips have two very different handle lengths. Notice how much less my arm and elbow need to move when I'm cracking the whip on the left versus the whip on the right. The longer handle allows me to volley the whip with significantly less effort. These two whips have very different transition zones. Notice how more easily the whip on the left will volley versus the whip on the right. The loose transition allows the loops of the volley to form much more freely. On a stock whip, the keeper knot makes the volley even easier. This is because the thong can move freely back and forth past the handle. I want to emphasize that you don't need a specific whip to learn the volley. You could use any whip as long as it cracks. However, these are just things to keep in mind while you're learning because they might alter your technique slightly as you're trying to learn the move. One more thing I should mention is that the speed of your volley will change depending on the length of your whip. The shorter the whip, the faster the volley. To learn the volley, I recommend that you know the fast figure eight and the reverse fast figure eight. These two moves essentially make up the volley. The fast figure eight teaches you to crack from front to back, and the reverse fast figure eight teaches you to crack from back to front. Once you're doing a volley, you're just putting these back to back to back to back. The main premise of the volley is that the handle acts like a windshield wiper. It goes from pointing forward, parallel with the ground, to pointing backward, parallel with the ground. Your hand, wrist, and arm are just guiding this motion and trying to make it smooth. Start with a cattleman's crack. When you finish your cattleman's crack, the handle should be parallel with the ground and pointing forward. Now, our elbow is going to slightly come back and dip down towards our hip as our forearm moves back and our wrist flips over. That's going to make your second crack, similar to a fast figure eight. Now, the difference is, instead of swinging underneath as you would for a fast figure eight, instead, we're going to reverse what we did and go forward like that. So we go here, drop the elbow and turn over for the second one, and reverse that. So now lift the elbow and bring this forward again. Once we've brought the whip forward again, we're going to do the same thing where we drop the elbow and bring the whip back again. Look at the angle of the handle on the whip in this video. The angle of your wrist is very important for learning this move. You want the whip to be pointed just slightly outwards so that the thong of the whip just barely passes your body and the handle. The best way to learn the volley is to do it in steps. Pick a number, like 4, and try and get all 4 cracks. Make sure you can get them cleanly and every crack is making a nice loud bang. Once you're confident with 4, try 6. After that, try 8. And so on. Practicing this way is important because if you try and do as many cracks as possible, when you're not sure of the form, it's likely that you're going to miss cracks and things are just going to go haywire. So it's good to have structured practice. Pick a number, 4, 6, or 8, and work your way from there. Now we're going to go over 3 common problems that people encounter when trying to learn the volley. The first one is wrist angle. If you're learning the volley and you find that you're hitting your arm, or you're hitting your leg, or maybe your whip is tangling, or you're just missing cracks, it's likely that your wrist angle is wrong. If you're hitting your leg, it's likely that your handle is pointed too far away from you. If you're hitting your arm, it's likely that your wrist angle is pointed too far towards you. And if you're missing cracks or just tangling the whip, it can be that your wrist angle isn't consistent. So maybe as you're cracking, there's a lot of variation in the way that your whip is moving, and that can cause your whip to do unexpected things that you don't want. Really try and make sure that your handle stays consistent, just slightly tilted away from you. When I actually learned the volley in front because I found it was easier to monitor how far away my wrist was tilting when I was practicing the move. The second most common problem is improper arm movement. A lot of people will move their arm up and down like this, or they'll move it forward and back like this. And it's hard to get really good cracks that way. You really want your arm to do this nice, smooth, flowy, back and forth motion. I like to think of it as my elbow swinging back and forth like this. My hand does a slight figure 8 motion. It goes crack, down and up, crack, down and up, bang, 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 bang. The final issue that a lot of people have is just bad timing. This comes with practice, but remember, if your whip is short, you need to crack fast. And if your whip is long, you need to crack slow. Ideally, you want to initiate the second crack right as the first one is happening. Thanks for watching this video, and good luck learning the volley. Feel free to leave any questions in the comment section or send us an email through our website. Again, my name's Justin from CanadaWhips.com. Thanks for watching. Namely, we're going to go over 3. Wrist angle, timing, and one that I don't know.